little bit. After you go to our website and you go on hosting departments, I sort of move stuff around so you can see stuff a little clearer. Um, Again, international travel still remains risky. So, if people can avoid traveling, they should reconsider traveling.
Morning, Mr. Sean.
These,
Hey, what's happening?
does
Uh,
someone have a question? No, I'm just hearing things. Okay. These are the new ones that had been added.
let's take a look here.
And this are ones that are under a full ban.
So
And
I see 2 days. Yes.
oh, Sean, I
Sean,
think it's you,
Sean,
Sean.
yeah. Can you mute
Okay.
yourself?
I hear you.
Well, if you look in Portal
Ah,
and under the Staff Tools tab, you'll see all the dates that were listed off for
you're
you
outside.
and if there were full or half days. So,
Sharon, since you're the
but it's
meeting host, you
accurate
should be able
in
to
that
go to participants
list.
and then mute him. I'm trying to do it, but I can't.
Oh, Gabby, are you talking? Is it Gabby?
Yes, yes, you should be able to go to participants and mute
Okay.
people.
So, got it. Yeah, I mean, that looks okay on my end. Right. So, yeah, I'm saying 2 days from last year. Yep.
Okay.
Yes. So you put in stolen time away, and let's say you're gonna
Sharon, I'm going to come to your office
working
really
from
quick.
home in the morning. So you would put AM. So the start and end date would be the same. Switch it to
I have to let
AM.
Gabby in. Hold
Work
on.
from
I'm so
home.
sorry,
Submit
everybody.
that. Then you'll do a and then you'll do a separate request. Same date, PM, vacation. Yes.
What can we do?
So you go.
You have 12, you have 20 from this year. And then remember,
There you go. Okay. All right. I'll be
All right.
back in a second.
Okay, technical difficulties. Okay, so anywho, these are the full ban ones and these are the partial ban ones. So that's like a lot of people. So just kind of, yeah, okay. Anyway, so a lot has been talked about these 75 countries that have stopped immigrant visa applications. That's just for green cards. So it doesn't mean H-1Bs or Js. Also, if you know someone in your department who is trying to get a green card, but they're in the US, it doesn't apply to them either. Okay. So I just wanted to go over again some potential alternatives to H. So in O1, usually this would be for faculty, or you might have we have seen postdocs who have gotten an O1, but usually they're going to be on the, you know, kind of more towards the 5 years of experience range. But sometimes you do have someone who, even though they're a postdoc in their field, they are very well respected. So don't discount it for a postdoc. Australians, they can come on an E3, which we do an LCA for them, and then they go to the US consulate to go get an E3 visa. Mexico and Canada, um, we can do TNs for some people. Today is it Chatty Cathy?
My eyes and I guess I'll go look at Broad Street. And then sometimes people honk a lot, so you can be like a whole person and be like, yeah, and if you
Can you I think we might be picking up your conversation in the background.
Whose conversation?
You don't hear people talking?
I do hear them. I just don't know. I'm trying to mute whoever it is, but I don't see anybody not muted.
Right, Nina looks like she might be.
Yeah, the only other person is Nina.
I muted. I'm sorry. People in my office are talking, so I'll mute.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm sure Kayla showed you toad spots.
All right. It's just been a day. All right. I don't know who that is. Mexico and Canada. So if you have someone from Mexico and Canada and they're going to come in as a postdoc, we can most likely do a TN for them. We could get them here as a TN and then perhaps later change them to an H-1B if we want. This one is one we had never used. So there's something called an H-1B1, and it's only for Chile and Singapore. So people from there. It's kind of like a FTA. So whatever that stands for, it's like a trade thing. It's kind of like a TN, but it's also like an H-1B. So it's sort of in between. But the good news is that we would not have to pay a $100,000 fee for that. So much like an Australian E3, they would get an LCA from us. We would send it to them abroad and they go to a US embassy to get a visa. So if you have someone from Chile or Singapore, we could possibly do our first H-1B1. So those are just some alternatives that we could look at depending on where your person is from. Nina, this is you. You're muted now. Still muted.
Sorry. Had my
Hi.
camera off and not the audio, and then did it vice versa. So this is just telling you where you can find all of the Office of Postdoctoral Fellow forms and appointment letters. You're going to go to, and the next slide is just kind of showing you where you go in your TU portal. Once you log into TU portal, you'll click on staff tabs, and then you'll go all the way down to university forms and just type in postdoc, and there are 2 pages worth of letters, requisition, policy and procedures, departmental documentation for required trainings form, even a checkoff list that you can use, which is wonderful. So if you have a new postdoc or a reappointment, this is internal. It's not to be sent to me. It's for you when you're completing a postdoc appointment. You can click on the checkoff list and it has everything that you need right there. It tells you for a reappointment. Some departments use it and submit it with their appointment package, but this is just for your departmental use, so you know that you are collecting all of the required documents. Same with the visiting research scholar. We have a checkoff list for that. So please use those checkoff lists because they come in handy when you're trying to figure out what you need instead of going back and forth to the policy. This is just a reminder about the hiring process review for appointments. So all incoming postdoctoral appointments and reappointments are going to be continued to be subject to the current hiring freeze unless they are fully grant funded. However, if the postdoc appointment is within the Lewis Katz School of Medicine, you still need to complete the Lewis Katz School of Medicine hiring review form, as the dean continues to still review all of Lewis Katz School of Medicine positions. Okay. Next. This is just processing times again. So just keep in mind that Office of International Student Scholar Services and myself, we do not determine the start date, but departments must adhere to the below processing times that we have. So if you have a domestic postdoc that's in the United States, you want to submit it 1 month prior to the initial appointment date. And it has to be completed. The whole package needs to be completed before submitting to my office. Now, if you're inviting a postdoc candidate in J status outside the US, it must be submitted at least 2 months prior to my the initial appointment start date. And that includes the package must be completed in Destiny 1 and all my required documents as well before submitting to my office. Sorry, we can fix this on the slide. And this is visiting research. Sharon, can you go back up to that? Processing time for postdocs. And then We have the H1 as well, as you.
Oh, yeah, this one, right? Yeah.
I also just want to remind everybody that my normal processing times of a review are between 5 to 7 days. And that's because I'm doing 2 jobs now. I review all the manuscripts to clear master's and doctoral students for Temple University. So that 5 to 7 day are business days. And then also you want to keep in mind that currently control tech forms are approximately taking 2 weeks to complete. So you also want to factor that into the start date when you're planning. And this is really important. If a postdoc needs Act 33, they're going to be dealing with minors. You're going to have to tack on an additional 4 weeks because they're not going to be permitted to work until these clearances come back prior to them starting. We don't really have too many postdocs that are dealing with minors, but that's just a friendly reminder so you know, because that's also going to factor in the appointment start. And this is just visiting research scholar appointments. So for a visiting research scholar appointment and visiting research scholar and resident appointments outside the United States, again, it must be submitted at least 2 months prior to the initial start date. And that includes a completed Destiny 1 application and all the required materials for the visiting research scholar appointment. If a visiting research scholar and visiting research scholar and resident is in the U.S., it must be submitted at least 1 month prior to the initial appointment start date. Visiting graduate student scholars, they are individuals inside the United States at another accredited academic institution, at least 1 month prior to their initial appointment start date. And then plans to invite a J1 graduate student intern outside the U.S. must be submitted at least 2 months prior to the initial appointment start date. Again, it has to be a completed application and you have all the required materials for the appointment. And there's no exceptions to these processing times. And again, you're just going to keep in mind our processing times. I'll review it within 5 to 7 days. And also, again, keep in mind that control tech forms are currently taking approximately 2 weeks. So with that said, if you have a completed control tech form, you can send it to Gabby, even if you don't have the completed package, because at least you're, number one, getting that reviewed, and that's not going to hold anything up. And you can also, same with Sharon. So if you got that, you want to send it right away, you can include me in it and let me know that this appointment's coming, but at least they can be reviewed. Okay. And then that's it for my update. Oh, and the next one is we have professional development. So just know that we offer professional development services for masters, doctoral, and postdoctoral fellows. And they can reach out to the Director of Student Engagement and Center Advancement, Mark Coloco. And they can schedule one-on-one appointments to discuss CV, resume writing, interviewing, job search, and networking, career exploration and planning. And postdocs are going to just email Mark Palaco at this email address. And then here are some of the professional development schedule that you can see. It's directly on the grad website. You can click on this link. This is currently what we have upcoming. I'll be at the February 12th one, Thriving as an International Scientist. This was sent out to all the postdocs. So keep that in mind that you can have them reach out for professional development as well. And I believe this is Sharon or Gabby next up.
Yeah, this one, Temple has a new policy or procedure, whatever, for people who want to work for Temple outside the US. So this isn't me, this isn't Nina per se, this is HR, and there's a procedure document and a form that you have to fill out. So basically, you can't just have people working outside the US. It has to be approved. And it will go through HR, but also University Council, because there are legal labor law issues and tax issues for people working for Temple abroad. So that's just kind of a little more complicated than people seem to think. This, I wanted to let people know, this is on our website. There's the website. And it's a chart to kind of let you know, like, okay, if you're going to hire someone through HR, these are the potential different kind of immigration statuses they could have. Visiting faculty, non-tenure track faculty, tenure track faculty, adjuncts. Important thing to know, the university does not support H-1Bs for adjunct faculty, just so you know. And postdocs, these are all the ones that it could potentially be. Also, it is really important that we know where all the places an H-1B might be working. So sometimes, like I know Connie's people will be at a national lab somewhere, or if you're going to have them working remotely and they live outside of the Philadelphia metropolitan statistical area, we have to list their home address on the LCA. So just be really mindful of all the places they might possibly work. There's a lot of penalties, and we could lose the ability to file H's and green card petitions. Okay. And we went over this last time, but I'm kind of reiterating because it just kind of keeps coming up over and over again. So if you are going to end someone's employment earlier than whatever's on their immigration document, obviously you would let Nina know for postdocs, but you have to let us know. This has just become so tricky because we can't just tell someone, well, just go home and, come back as an H-1B later, because that's not going to happen. And it's very unlikely anyone's going to want to pay the $100,000 fee for them. Also, for J1s, not to step on Gabby's toes, but J1s, if we have to complete someone's J program, they can't come back as a research scholar or a professor for 2 years. So this has become really critical that we know well in advance so we can kind of work with the person to figure out what their options are. This is Gabby.
Yes, we've scheduled the spring 2026 semester OPT info sessions. So if you have anybody who's maybe working on OPT and they're transitioning to STEM, or they're a student worker and you want to keep them on after they graduate, the first one is tomorrow. And then the one on the 13th, which is next Friday, is OPT and CPT combined. So if anyone's wanting to do an internship, they should go to that one. And then I'm doing the one on March 10th. So yes, just keep these on your calendar. And as always, if anybody has questions, like your students, you can send them our way. And we can answer specifically or just give them this schedule.
Thanks, Gabby. Sharon, can we go over the Bringing International Scholars form as well, to ensure that departments are aware that we do have one for visiting research scholars, and we also developed one for a postdoc?
Okay, so if you go to here, hosting departments, it's under, I think it's under this one, forms and templates.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
See if I can find it.
Screen.
Nina, is this a new form for postdocs? Because I wasn't aware that we had one.
Sharon and I were speaking about it. This is more or less for an H to try to figure out an individual and how they should be classified. And this is just, you can click it here. You don't have to complete it, but when you're dealing with a non-US citizen, it's easier for us to have this information. Are they in the US? Are they outside the US? What current immigration status do they have? So this would be for non-US citizens that are either on a visa or need to petition for a visa. So postdocs, but I wouldn't use this for a US citizen. This is just for Sharon, myself, to get, a full picture of an incoming postdoc or postdoc fellow research associate. And
Yeah.
it's not to be confused with the bringing international researchers to Temple. This top form is used for Gabriella and myself. We review it to see if an incoming candidate meets the criteria to be appointed as a visiting research scholar or a visiting research scholar in residence appointment or a J1 graduate student intern appointment. This is how we figure out if any candidate falls under my portfolio.
Thank you.
I just noticed, LaFrance asked, are the OPT sessions for like hiring departments? No, they're really for the students. I mean, certainly, you could join one just to kind of see what they're learning and what they find out at all times, but it's really for students.
So
Oh, I just saw Gabby answered it.
yeah,
Sorry.
so the reason that, well, they're capped at a certain number and there's oftentimes a wait list, so you realistically won't be able to join it. However, if there's demand, I'd be happy to talk to Joan about scheduling one for departments. Just let me know. I mean, if anyone, like, maybe raise your hand if you'd be interested in something like that, and then we can see if that's a thing, or maybe I'll send a follow-up email and ask, I'll create a poll or something.
Um,
I
But that's not a
wonder,
bad idea.
I wonder if maybe we could come up with some kind of information. Well, you already have the informational piece regarding OPT, but in regards to the department's understanding that Temple can only employ individuals on their initial 12-month OPT, we cannot employ an individual on STEM OPT because we're not authorized. We're E-Verified university, but they've elected to only verify employees who work on a covered contract. So we cannot comply or hire employees on OPT STEM. So the initial OPT card to differentiate whether or not it is the initial OPT would be classified as, I think it's C3B, and it would say post-completion optional practical training for the initial OPT.
yeah, we have a bunch of information under hosting departments, if that helps anybody to kind of review it. We also, just an FYI, have stuff on hiring student workers. There's a lot of stuff here. There's also a timeline from F1, like OPT, to H1B postdoc. There's all kinds of stuff here. So, does anyone have any questions about anything?
Too early? Too cold? Just kidding. It's
Um,
Tuesday.
I
I'm
would.
okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, I was just thinking about sending out some blasts to to our student success group about some of these things. And then I was thinking about messaging that's already coming out of ISSS. I don't want to like dump on students. Do you already send notices to international students about these opportunities, or are you relying on us to let them know?
No, we send it out through the international student listserv, so if they check their email, they should see it. And then we also communicate with ISA, and they're sending out the dates as well. I don't think it hurts to be a broken record about it though, because then they have less opportunity to claim that they didn't know about
And then
it.
I was going to ask if you don't mind, can this group be added to that listserv so that we can kind of work in tandem with the information that's going out with that, like, or see what they're seeing?
So the international student listserv is like a Canvas page. I'm not sure about the logistics of that.
Yeah, you can just join it. I'm trying to see. I don't do the students, so it's.
I can
probably
ask
on their
Joan about
website
it too when
somewhere.
we are done with this.
Yeah, if I could do it, I mean, I
Yeah.
can talk myself if I can, but
There
I
are
think
a
it would
lot of
just be
emails,
nice
just
to
to warn
know.
you.
Oh, maybe it's over here. I don't look at students.
I can try to send out a poll over email after this so you can elect to be added to the listserv because I don't want to add everybody because it is on your inbox.
But yeah, I would love to see, but thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, let's see. University. And then if you go to international students. Tell you, I don't know what it is. All right. We will find out how to go about it, and I'll send it out to the. I mean, I know that it's super easy. You just join it, but I don't have anything to do with that list. So I'll look and send it out to the web, to the email. Also, if anyone ever thinks of something they would like on our website, like, please feel free to let us know. And I'll add it. Anybody else with any questions? Going once?
Twice. All right. Thanks
But
for
that's
joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
You're welcome. You have a good one too.
See you guys next month.
Stay safe and stay warm. Enjoy the rest of the
Take care,
week.
you guys.
Bye.
I
Bye.
Nina, can you stop recording?
Yeah.
It's less I have to
think.
try to edit later.